mean, like, this is my passion. Like, this world and writing is, like, this gives me life. So I have so much planned for it.
I guess just to start off, how long did it take you to write Wish and Mercy?
Oh my god. Okay. So I started, like, back in high school. So it's been 13 years, I think, something. Okay. That's when I first started, okay? And then I rewrote it like 100 billion times for various reasons. I mean, obviously, like, you grow as a writer. Like, I write much better now than I did when I was 14. And I started the draft that would become published in late 2018, I think. And it took me 6 months with that version to get it published. Like, to finish it, to write it, finish it, get all the editing done, and hit go on Amazon. So, two answers. So, 13 years and 6 months.
6 months is not a lot of time to work with.
No, it's really not. It's not. No.
Especially like a book of that size, having to do edits on who knows how many times. Like, that's a lot.
You are correct.
There's a lot of work for 6 months.
Oh my god. Yep, you are super duper correct. Wow. Yep. That is true.
How'd you build the world that the books take place in?
So, the world was not made for books originally. I was building the world to roleplay in because I wanted to make a tabletop role-playing game. Years and years and years ago, when I first met my husband, you know, when we were just, you know, two people who knew each other, far before the saga of us dating even was a thought, he was like, hey, I have a role-playing game. Why don't you play? And I was like, okay, cool. So we played Warhammer Fantasy. And then our game ended, and I was like, you know what? Like, I want to run a game, but I don't want to learn the system. I don't want to do all that work to, like, learn about the world. Like, that's just too much work. Why don't I just make my own? Like, I'll just make it all up. Like, they're so much easier. So that's how that happened. And then it was like, wow, I can write stories because I have all this information, like, already.
Yeah, it just kind of falls into place at that point. Like...
Yeah, it was very convenient. It was just more like, wow, I really like writing, and I have this entire world. So yeah, we'll just do that, and that's how that started.
So what's the development like on the tabletop game? Because I know myself and potentially some other people probably would be into playing a tabletop game.
So we are
about this. So
we are absolutely going to do a actual play on Twitch eventually this year. It is going to happen this year. I just Corin's helping me kind of work out some new rules for it. Because and him and I have had this discussion a lot. There's a scale when it comes to role-playing games about, like, how involved it is. It's either like Warhammer Fantasy, or, you know, like a army game, or it's a creative writing prompt. You know, those are the two. And I really like my games more on this side, and he really likes his games a little bit closer to that side. And I was very stubborn at first. I was like, no, I really like all all my stats, all my numbers, all my things. And like the more and more that we lean away from it, the more it's like, wow, it's less work for me, for one thing.
Yeah.
And I do want this to someday be able to be picked up by just random people to learn and for them to play. And they can't do that if I have a fucking mess of a game.
You don't want the learning curve to be so steep that it just scares people away. Like,
yeah, like that's why like we never played Pathfinder, because you need somebody with a degree in calculus to teach you how to play. Because it's absolutely indecipherable. That rule book, that core, it's a nightmare. I could not tell you how many times I have read over it and just still was just like, what? So, we are testing some things out. The first actual play is going to be the voice acting crew from the audiobook. We're all gonna do, and that's gonna be like the play test. And then after we see how that works out and I fine-tune stuff a little bit more, then I do want to have like another playtest group. And so then I will probably invite some others to try it out.
There you go, guys. You heard it here first. Keep your Discord DMs open.
Yes. For the Rosemary game. It's so spoiler alert, is going to have a tarot card mechanic instead of like all these crazy number crunching. So that's gonna be super. I'm so excited about that.
So for my 14 players, if you like Astro, there you go. Also, Tim, I know you like Slay the Spire, so it might be similar to that, because like I know you said that was card based, like roguelike, so Alright, so you are working on book 3 right now. Yes?
Yes. True.
How many books is this? Do you have an idea of how many books the series is gonna run?
Yes. It will be 5 books. I do have everything planned out, like book by book. Book 3, I have, obviously I have far more of it. It's more detailed, my plan. Book 4 and book 5 is just kind of like a few major points, beginning, middle, end. And like some key scenes. But book 3 is already broken down, like scene by scene by scene by scene. My like scene guide for book 3 is actually like it's 10,000 words long. It's like half of Bone Priestess. So 5 books. I did not always know.
5 books.
I thought at one point I could do 4 books. And actually when I first started writing it, I was trying to do just 1 book, and then it was like, no, it's not gonna work.
You can't just leave it like that,
Whoops. I just made it way too complicated. And there's just so many cool things happening.
But not so complicated that you couldn't wrap it up neatly in 5 books. So like,
exactly.
It's 5 books it's a good number, because it's like, it's not a huge series. Like, I don't know, I can't really think of any like super long book series that have just dragged on
Sookie Stackhouse
way too long
novels.
Yeah, well, the show went on a little longer than it should have too, but
well, there's like 14 books.
Oh
so.
my god. Okay.
Yeah, there might be more, I don't know.
But so I know it's 5 main books, but you've already got 2 side books as well. So like, do you have any idea how many other like little side stories are gonna be in this universe?
Oh yeah. So I plan on writing just so much content for this universe. Why make all, like, why go through all the trouble to flesh this whole world out and then just not use it? Like,
yeah.
So I do have a spin-off planned for book 2. So once you finish book 2, there's some stuff that happens with some other characters, and it's like, well, now what are they gonna do? and their story is no longer part of like the main story, but they're still very interesting, and there's still like a lot of shit going on with them. So I have a spin-off series planned. That'll be 3 books, and then there's gonna be like another kind of spin-off of that. That'll be probably maybe like 2 books. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. And then there's like another character in that spin-off series who's gonna have. I mean, this whole thing is just a
It's just
tree.
gonna branch out.
Yeah. And then I may do a continuation with certain characters who survive Nightwalker.
Oof. That's that feels a little spoilery in itself.
I love tragedy, like I really do. So not everybody getting a happy ending, and not everybody deserves a happy ending. So
yeah, I'm sure there's always people who don't deserve the happy ending.
But character dynamics are definitely going to change and evolve throughout this series, and there's some that are just so interesting that like I can't leave it alone, and I definitely want to take that somewhere. So I mean, like, this is my passion. Like, this world and writing is like, this gives me life, so I have so much planned for it, and I'm really excited, and I hope that someday, like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna be Brandon Sanderson levels of, you know, notoriety, or, you know, George R. R. Martin levels of notoriety, although he's notorious for certain other things.
He's notoriously bad at finishing books. I mean, so you've already got him beat
Right.
there. You've already got him beat there.
I do. Exactly. That was the notoriety that I was going for.
Yeah.
With him.
So, like, are you prepared? I mean, maybe you don't know exactly who's gonna die by the end, or maybe you do, because I know you said you've got the major plot points like figured out. So, like, and maybe you haven't done this yet, but like, what's it like to put all this work into making a character that people like love? Do you have characters that you make people love and then just, or like characters that you love that you end up killing? Like, and how do you prepare yourself for that?
So it's hard. It's really difficult. I'm not prepared to do what I have to do. I have killed a handful of characters so far that were, I mean, I don't find them lovable by any means. Like, I enjoyed writing them for what they needed to do, but they did that, and I don't think anybody is really going to miss those particular characters. I do hope that they are kind of shocking in the way that they die. But I do have some fan favorites that I am going to kill off in book 3.
Oof.
I do have a very difficult death coming in book 4 that I am not emotionally prepared for, and I don't know if I can go through with it. I don't know if I should go through with it. It just seems kind of cruel, but also like, you know, like some characters, they just wrap up, you know, and keeping them around is just kind of like, okay, well, there's no real point to having you around anymore. You've served your purpose. Well, your storyline has done what it needs to do.
You kill them to motivate another character.
So,
or you can. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah. So it's hard. I'm not ready for it. Book 5 is going to have some deaths that are tough, but I've been preparing for those since the beginning, so I know exactly how that needs to happen. Book 4 is going to be really hard. Book 4 is going to be just a tough book. So book 3 is going to be long because it has to set up all of the shit happening in book 4. And it is like, so the thing about writing a series the reason why I really had to break it into 5 books as opposed to anything that I had planned before is because, like, I knew the main storyline, like, how it built up, where it hit its climax, and how it ended. But each individual book also has to have its individual climax and ending and climax.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's like a really jagged line that you're building. And that's hard to plan for. And book 3 has to be long because it doesn't make sense to be continuously building by book 4. Book 4 is when we like shit has to hit the fan, and we got to be there, and we have to get out. So, I want to talk about it, but I can't. So.
Yeah. I tried to ask it in like the most spoiler-free way I could. Like, I probably could have phrased it better, but it was an off the cuff question.
Books are having more climaxes than my life. Rip.
Oh
rip.
God.
True. Books. That's true of books. They're very good at that. They always get one.
Further back, David asked if we would get a Silmarillion for the series. Is there plans for like an appendix book that just kind of, you know?
I absolutely can.
Things?
I absolutely can. I have another series planned. It's called the Rosemary Primer. And it's going to be kind of my ongoing series. Smaller books, they're going to be about probably 70,000 words. But each book is dedicated to like these characters that are kind of like introducing the reader to the world. You know, they focus heavily on like, you know, one particular god or something, or one aspect of the world, to kind of help the reader familiarize themselves with this. I mean, it would have been helpful to start there instead of this book, but whatever.
No, I mean, it's plenty of people do the main story first and the backstory later. Like, that's a pretty common thing, I think. So it's perfectly fine order to do it in. Like,
so it's gonna be fun. I have the entire first book planned out. It's just like writing it. I haven't gotten in the groove of like, sometimes you write and it turns out like really good, and sometimes you write and it's just writing, you know?
Yeah. And
so far every time it's just been writing, and I'm like, that's not, I need it to feel. So until I hit that groove with that series, it's kind of like on standby. But that is kind of like my closest thing right now to like an appendix type thing. It is my primer series.
Okay. Well, there you go, David. Hopefully that answers your question. We have talked about George R.R. Martin quite a bit, and I know you mentioned True Blood as well. So would you say that those were your main inspirations behind your series?
No.
Okay.
The description, that description came after the book was done. Like, we were trying to figure out, what do we say? And I think Jason was the one that came up with that. But I remember that when we first talked about this question, I had no idea what the answer was. I have thought about it, and I have since had an answer. I think that technically the inspiration kind of probably came from Warhammer Fantasy. Like, that was what inspired me to build the world.
That's true, yeah. I didn't even think about it from that point of view, because you were inspired to build the world as the tabletop RPG first. So I guess the book inspiration came later, I guess.
A lot of things. Sense. So the first story that I ever wrote for the world, for Rosemary, was actually inspired by a game that I ran with my friends in that world. And while Nightwalker is not that same story, this is like I wouldn't even call it a prequel because it's so far removed from that story. It introduces characters that will be in that story. But yeah, I would say it's still inspired by events from games. It's inspired by just amazing, juicy family drama. Not necessarily my own, but some of it is, inspired by my own. Some of it's not. Most of it's not. Some of it's kind of just weird accident. It just kind of.
Wow. Hey, Chaz, thank you for the gift sub. So, what are some of your favorite books?
So.
Hey, Ari.
I don't know if he's here now. He probably isn't here. On Wednesday, I'm actually doing an interview with an indie author who is amazing, Douglas Pierce. He wrote. He has a fantasy series also called The Maiden Song, and it's amazing. This guy, I mean, should definitely be like traditionally published. He's great. His writing is so like top tier. It's a great story, amazing characters. 10 out of 10, would recommend. In fact, now I have to like find it and like, show it off just in case anyone's looking for more stuff. Buy mine first. But anyway.
Well, hey, they might all just win yours first. Well, not all of them, but.
Yeah. Maybe like if you guys win my books, maybe then you do need more stuff to buy. So I got you. So yeah, his books definitely are amazing. I'm also a huge fan of Jurassic Park, the movie and the book. Love them both. Hunt for the Red October. Just skip the entire first like 10 pages talking about submarines and you're good. Just skip it. You can't. The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck, which is a super weird. It doesn't fit in with any of my choices at all. Super random.
Oh my god. Hello, Jan. Thank you for the huge raid. Wow.
Look at those numbers, I got big.
Oh my god. Welcome Raiders, welcome. We are currently talking with fantasy author AJ Gala, who is also one of my mods. You're self-published. So yes. During that journey, what was the biggest hurdle you had to get past to get that book published in 6 months?
Myself.
Yeah.
Myself. Oh my god. I'm terrible. Holy crap. One, I never should have done that. I should not have done that. So basically what happened was, all my life, I've wanted to be an author. I mean, if this didn't, set the scene for you.
That started super early.
Yeah, it has been my dream to publish a book forever. And I told myself at some point, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a published book by the time I'm 30. And, I had researched like the traditional publishing market, and it's so competitive nowadays. It's really hard to get traditionally published, and it's a lot of work. And I'm like, screw that, I don't got that kind of time. And then I procrastinated more and more and more and more, and then the next thing I knew, I was gonna be 30 soon. I was like, oh shit, well, I guess I better get on this and I'll self-publish. And I had like 6 months, and I was like, okay, we're going for it. And god, my editor, dude, bless her heart, she was so amazing. She put up with me just putting an incredible amount of pressure on her. But she was such a good sport. She was so helpful. She taught me so much. But man, like 6 months to do a book that is like 147,000 words. It's nuts. Like that is not a lot of time. And it, we're doing 3 kinds of editing. We're doing the developmental editing, which is very time consuming. We're doing line editing, which is very time consuming, and then we're doing proofreading. And my other really big hurdle was the line edit. And if anybody out there wants to publish a book, you know, here's the thing. One, always get an editor. Do not skip out on the editor. Don't skip that step or I will find you and I will kill you, okay? Two, make sure that you're compatible with your editor, because different editors give you feedback in different ways. And me, I'm a baby, and you have to be nice to me or I cannot handle critique. I can handle critique, but you gotta be nice about it. Like, I need the sandwich, you know? I need this is good, but not this. But hey, you also did this good. Like, give me the sandwich. My editor, Amanda, she contracts out to other people to do different parts of the edit for her. So that way, her eyes are not the only eyes that are seeing it the entire time. Because it's such a big book, it helps to have, like, it's refreshing to have somebody else look at it. So she contracted out to somebody else to do the line edit. And Amanda's feedback style is very gentle. She's perfect for me. Perfect. She contracted out to somebody who was not gentle, and was not nice, and who hurt my feelings a lot. And so I'm not gonna lie, like, she had a lot of really useful information. She just was kind of a bitch about it the entire time from start to finish, and like, I was crushed. Like, by the time I had it in me to go through all of these notes, like, I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to write anymore. I didn't want to publish anymore. And I was like, this is a mistake. And then Jason's like, you paid $3,000. You can't do that. So that was a pretty big setback. Like, I wasted a lot of time being sad about those notes and hiding from those notes. By the time, like, I picked myself back up again, I'd wasted a lot of time. So that is my advice to you, to anybody who wants to go down this route. Make sure you're compatible with the people that you work with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good advice for, like, anything. I think you want to, you obviously you want to work with people that you get along with, and people who know how to tell you things in a way that you're actually going to take it in and not just fight back. Yeah,
like, it was helpful. Like, she left useful comments. It's just they also ripped my soul out of my shell. Like, so and she did not like the particular relationship that happens in the book. She was not a fan, and she was like, don't do this. Oh, don't do this. And I almost didn't. I almost decided to scrap it and rewrite it. But Amanda told me fortune favors the bold, and so that enabled me to do every terrible thing that I put in there. So
yeah, critique can be hard, like everybody in chat said. Like, it's hard to be like, put your heart and soul into something and just have somebody shit on it, basically.
Yeah. I've gotten better at it, like, more just like as a necessity. I've reached a point where I am looking for feedback, not because this is the next step, but because I need the feedback. I need to know what really needs to be fixed, and I can't do it. Like, and once you get into that mindset, it's different. Like, it's easier to receive it. But if you're just looking for feedback because, like, you have to, like that's the next step and you're supposed to do it, you are in no way prepared to hear, you know, something that is not, you know, oh, it's wonderful and beautiful and perfect. So, yeah, you have to be actively looking for something to fix.